Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Poorboys Little Homestead. As always, if this is your first time here, thanks for dropping in. Feel free to drop in anytime you feel, my friend. Guys, today, how many of you ever woke up and had one of these? Yeah, a flat on your car. Whatever type of vehicle you're driving. Well, today I'm going to show you guys how to change your flat. I believe this is something that everyone should know. You should teach your kids when they get driver's license. To me, you shouldn't allow them to drive anywhere until they know how to change a flat. They ought to know how to boost themselves off. Teach them something. If they got enough sense to get that driver's license and drive a $30,000 and nowadays $80,000 vehicles, use these cell phones and stuff, then by George, they ought to have enough sense to change a flat when they get in a bind. So today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to change a flat, where to find your jack, where to find your spare, where to put your jack under your vehicle, and we're going to change this flat. Now, as most vehicles nowadays, every one of them is going to be different. And it's better, guys, to go on, if you got a vehicle, when you get it, go on and find where your spare is placed. Go on and find where your jack and tire tool is and know how to use it. Most cars, the spare is going to be in the trunk. But on pickup trucks and SUVs, the spare is going to be hanging up under the bottom on the back. Some of them's hanging on the back, easy access, but them that's up under the bottom, you should know how to get that spare down before you get stranded on the side of the road and sitting out there for 2 hours in the heat trying to figure out, well, how do I get my spare out from under here? I can't change it if I can't get my spare out from under the bottom. But I'm just demonstrating this today on a 2014 Nissan Altima car. I'll probably show y'all on my old pickup truck where you can put your jack when you go to jack it up. Maybe show you a little bit about where the tool is and how you lower the spares down under the back of a pickup truck. But like I said, guys, this is going to be different on every vehicle, so you need to keep your owner's manual and familiarize yourself with this before you get stranded out on the side of a road. Like I said, on this car here, it's pretty simple. Everything's in the trunk. So we're going to go over here to the trunk and we're going to get our spare and our tool out. And I'm going to show you what you need to do first. Now, there's no telling what all's in the trunk of my wife's car here. And this is another aggravating thing. I know you've been going down the interstate before and you see people pulled over and they got a big old pile of suitcases and everything. That's cause you gotta unload your trunk to get to your spare. So right now I'm finna unload. Hers really ain't that bad today, can't believe it. I'm gonna get the stuff out of here and then I'll bring y'all over here and we'll look at where the spare tire is at and the tools. All right, guys, what do y'all see up in there? A pair of booster cables. I know this is a flat changing video, but I like giving tips along the way. Every vehicle needs a pair of booster cables. And these are just some cheap booster cables here. Ain't much to these. But they will boost you off if you're in a bind. It may take you a little longer to sit there and charge your battery with the donor battery that's boosting you off. But every vehicle needs a pair of booster cables. If you'll go back, I got a video and I'll try to remember to attach it above on how to properly boost off your vehicle. Next in all my vehicles is some type of little air pump. It ain't much to these little 12-volt pumps. But if you got a slow leak, you could hook this up, pump your tire up, and if you ain't got far to drive to your local service station where they do flat fixing, you might could pump your tire up and drive there and get it changed without having to actually change and put your spare on. So next in a car, it's going to be up under you'll pull your carpet and little cover there. I just fold it back, and this is where you find your jack. It's got a little styrofoam cover in this vehicle that has your jack and your tire tube. Well, I know some of you saying, well, what's that? Well, that there is called a cheater pipe. I put this in here because my wife or my daughter, if they have a flat and them lug nuts has been put on at a tire changing place with an air wrench, sometimes they hard to break loose. And this little handle here on this tire tool ain't very long, but if you got a pipe you can stick over it, you extend the handle, and that gives you more leverage to break loose them nuts. And I'm gonna show y'all that here in a moment. So we're gonna get our jack out. And here's your spare. Now, most vehicles nowadays just come with what I call a little donut tire. And guys, when you have to use these are only meant for you to put on your vehicle and drive slowly. And I'm going to say it again, slowly. These ain't for be driving no 60 or 70 and 80 mile an hour on. When you put one of these tires on, I would suggest you don't drive over 45 mile an hour and you go to the nearest tire place and get your tire fixed and put your regular tire back on. So these little things here ain't much to them. But you'll just unscrew that little screw there that holds it down. And when you put them back in here, if you don't put all this back together and screw it down, you're going to just have a bunch of squeaky racket going on back here in your trunk. Now at this point, I'm going to add another good tip, guys. At the minimum, I'm going to say at the minimum once a year, but I would suggest every 6 months, you get your spare in whatever vehicle it is, even if it's up under the bottom of your pickup truck. Sometimes you ain't got to get it down, but you can lay up under there and check the pressure in that tire with a pressure gauge. These tires set back here over time, and it ain't that they got a hole or nothing in them, but they will lose their air. Well, you get out somewhere and you get stranded, you have a flat and you need to change your tire, then your spare's flat. Well, you ain't accomplished nothing. On the second part of that, if you'll keep a little air pump in your trunk, you could pump your spare up to get it aired up to save you. But we finna get her out, and we're gonna show y'all how to do this. Now guys, if you ain't never had to air a tire up, and you don't know how many pounds to put in it, if you read on the side of this tire, it'll tell you. And when it has it, like this one says 60 PSI. Well, that's 60 pounds, that means maximum. That don't mean that it needs 60 pounds in it. That's the maximum you need to put in it. So the first thing you want to do is, before you put your jack under your car and jack your wheel up, is you want to break these lug nuts loose. And when I say break them loose, I mean you just want to, it's lefty loosey, righty tighty, but you just want to break them loose just a little bit. Don't unscrew the nuts off of them because your tire fall off with the weight on the car, but you want to break them loose. That way when you jack the car up, you ain't having to put a bunch of pressure on the tire and make the car fall off the jack. And if you ever have a flat on the side of the road, guys, if it ain't on your passenger side and it's on your driver's side, don't just pull over on the edge of the road and get out there and start changing your flat and high-speed traffic's just coming by. There's been many people killed on the side of the road because people driving nowadays, they ain't paying attention. They got them cell phones, they texting. You will get run over and killed. My suggestion is, if you have a flat on the road and you can't get far enough off the road to change your flat where you at, just get over on the shoulder, put your flashers on and ease. And then when I'm saying ease, and I'm talking about 1 or 2 miles an hour, just ease up until you find a driveway or something you can turn off the road to change your flat. It may end up running your tire doing that, but that's better than getting killed or run over and mangled up for the rest of your life and crippled. But most likely get killed. There's a lot of danger in jacking up a vehicle and all that, but to me the most important ones when you out there on the road is don't just pull over and get out there thinking people will see you and scoot over and everything's gonna be fine. But at this point, guys, this is where this, what I call a cheater pipe. If you took this little lug wrench here, no longer than it is, you put it on the nut, you can see how tight that is. That's hard for me to break loose. But if you put this extended pipe on there and you get right out here on the end, it makes it way a lot easier to break them nuts loose. So gentlemen out there, you ought to done checked your wife's vehicle out. You ought to know what type of wrenches it's got, what type of jack. Show her how it works on her vehicle and cut you a little piece of pipe that'll fit over whatever style of wrench, because all of them's got different style wrenches that come with them. Most of them ain't made of much. I kind of like the little spare tire. They're just a little light duty work. Y'all see that right there is tight. So I'm gonna have to get down here where I can push down on it. Now, average young lady without that pipe couldn't get them broke loose. The next thing you could try if you ain't got a cheater pipe is get it and put your foot on it and put your body weight on it and push down. But a lot of times your wrench, depending on what style it is, will just slip right off your nut. So the cheater pipe is the way to go. So now that we got all of our lugs broke loose, that way they'll easily be able to get off once we get the vehicle jacked up. Also, guys, before you start this, you want to make sure you're on level ground. You ain't gonna be on no ditch bank on the side of the road and your car sitting like that, or up on a hill going like that, or down on a hill going like that. You can't change a flat like that. When you start to jack it up, it'll roll off the jack. If you are on an incline and you ain't got no other choice, you better get something and throw in front of your tire and behind your tire on the front, or if you're changing the flat on the front, put it on the back. Whatever it is, if you can find a stump, rock, brick, big rock, whatever, I'm gonna act like this is a rock. You want to put it right in front of that tire and behind that tire on the one you ain't changing. That way to keep your vehicle from rolling to come off that jack. So now here's where it gets to a very important part. Where do you put this jack? Well, on this little car here, I'm gonna get down here and let y'all see up under there. Guys, you just don't stick a jack under a vehicle anywhere. I've seen a many of people, especially on trucks and them SUVs and some cars. If you put that jack in the wrong spot, I've seen a guy one time jacking the front of his truck up, put his jack up under there and was jacking up on his tie rod end. Well, that's a major no-no. It's gonna bend your tie rod end, and your vehicle ain't gonna steer straight, and eat your tires up. Well, it bent his tie rod in just enough. He started eating his tires up. He could still drive the vehicle, but he started looking at his tires one day and they was just eating them up. Well, got to looking under there, and that's where he put the jack. Put the jack right on the dang steering tie rod end steering arm, and he'd done bent it just enough you really couldn't see it to the eye, but it bent it just enough to get everything out of a line under there. So I'm going to show y'all where you put a jack on this car, and like I said, if you'll look in the manual that comes with your vehicle, they usually show you where to put these jacks to jack up your vehicles. Now if you look right up under here, and it'll show you in the manual on this car, here's where the frame of your vehicle's running. Right up under this plate. You see them two notches? This car is marked on all four wheels, got these notches, and it shows you in the manual that's where you put the jack, right there over them notches. That's the way it'll be on the metal frame of the car. Cause guys, if you just stuck that jack under here and just say shoved it over there, and that looks like that's hard, but that there's plastic. That's actually the pan in the trunk where your spare tire sets down in, so that wouldn't hold nothing. This right here, that looks like it may be solid. That's the bottom of the floorboard in your car. If you tried to jack up right there, it would bend it, or either the jack would go through it and come through the floorboard in the inside of your car. So you have to watch where you put it. On the other side of the vehicle is the gas tank. If you stuck it right there, you'd puncture a hole through your gas tank. So you can't just jump up under there and stick a jack anywhere. You need to make sure where you putting that jack so you won't do no damage. But guys, you want to figure all this out on the vehicle you driving before you out there on the side of the road. You don't want to be out there on the side of the road trying to figure all this stuff out. If I had to get the manual out, I could about have this tire changed before I could even find what page to look up the directions on. So I suggest everybody go on and figure out where their jack's at, where their spare's at, where their jack needs to go, and how to use it before they ever need to use it. So now I'm going to put the jack under here, and we're going to jack it up. And I'm getting it right on that notch where it says put the jack. Now this little jack that comes with this car, it takes a while to jack it up because you got to do like this. You're getting a half a turn at a time, but you can see the car slowly coming up. Also, if you pulled over on the side of the road and the ground ain't hard, and you ain't got nothing to put this jack on, it's just gonna push down into soft dirt. So sometimes you just have to ease down the road on the flat, whether it runs the tire or not, until you get to a spot you can change your tire. Because you can't just jack a vehicle up anywhere on any ground. Now that's how you do this with the tools that come with it. Once you get your tire jacked up high enough it's off the ground, then you can go on and remove your lug nuts. Now it ain't jacked up high enough yet to remove this tire and put the other tire on. But I go on and get mine removed there, and I leave me two lug nuts across from each other. And I leave them on until I get it jacked up high enough to remove the tire. But I want to do all the work I can do before I get this car raised up too high. That way it won't take me as long to do my work. I can get my tire on there real quick, put a couple lug nuts on it, tighten them up a little bit, and ease it back down. That way in case it tries to fall off the jack. Alright, I think that's high enough to get the donut on there. Get your little spare tire. Line it up, get it on the nuts. Get it on the lugs, I mean. And guys, you want to put at least 3 of them on there and tighten them down. That way it gets the wheel lined up the way it's supposed to be. And once you get it lined up, just tighten them 3 up a little bit. Then I go on and stick the rest of them on. Some vehicle has 5 lug nuts, some has 6, some has 8. Bigger you go in trucks, got 10. Now, at this point you want to let your jack back down. And after your tire touches the ground, that's when you want to put your wrench back on there and make sure to get your lug nuts tight. And ladies, make sure you got them tight. And if you have to, after you get them tight with your hand, put your wrench on there, put your foot on there, put a little weight on them to make sure they all tight. Change that wrench around. And when you're doing this, don't just go on one lug nut to the next one. Do one on one side and jump across to the other one on the other side. Then after you do it, jump back to the one across from it. You don't want to just go around and around in a straight, because as you tighten it down, you want to make sure your tire's tightening down straight, not getting at a little angle or something. That's why I said a while ago, when you first put it on, put your 3 nuts on there. 2 at the minimum, but 3 works better. Tighten them down and it'll center your rim up on the lugs. But guys, that's how you change a flat on your vehicle. But now I'm going to show you some more little tips and tricks. I'm going to go air my tire back up, because I did let the air out of that tire. Not all the way, but I let it out just to make this demonstration video. I'm going to air this tire back up, and I'm going to show you a tool that you can purchase for yourself. Now, I ain't got one for each vehicle, but any vehicle that I'm driving, whichever truck I'm in, or if we're going to go somewhere on a trip in this car, that tool goes with me, because you're going to see why it makes things so much quicker and easier. So I'll be back with y'all in a moment. I'm going to air my tire up. All right, guys, I got my tire aired up, and I'm going to put my original tire back on. Because like I said, guys, if you ever had to use this donut spare like that, you want to put that on there. You don't want to drive over about 40 miles an hour. I don't even know if I'd want to go that fast myself on that little thing. I've seen people on the interstates just be hauling butt with these little donut tires, and I'm like, man, there ain't enough rubber on that thing. And it tells you not to drive over a certain speed. Now, I don't know exactly what that is, but I'm going to say about 40 miles an hour. But you want to go straight to your tire place, guys, and get your tire fixed and get it back on the vehicle. You don't want to run around on one of these little donut spares. But I'm going to show y'all something. Right here in this little bag is a 1/2-inch impact wrench. I got this little bag, and I got a little set of sockets, impact sockets. You got every size, fit every vehicle. And like I was saying earlier, anytime I take a trip, if we go in this car, I put this impact wrench in the trunk of this car. Whatever truck I'm driving, if I'm home and I'm driving mostly my little truck, this impact wrench stays in my little truck. If I'm off on the road somewhere and I'm in my other truck, this impact wrench stays in my other truck. Because I'm finna show y'all how much speed difference it makes. Even with this little jack right here, we finna redo this just like what the process we just went through. You want to stick that jack under there, and with this impact wrench, that's how fast I jack the vehicle up. That's how fast I took that tire off. And you see, when you go to put your big tire back on, you got to jack it up a little higher. I got these lug nuts now on these new rims where they up there in that hole, so a lot of times you got to put them in your little socket there to stick them in there, because your fingers won't fit in the rims to put your lug nuts on. And when you're doing this, guys, if they feel like they're cross threading, don't put no wrench or nothing on them till you know they screwing on there good and easy. If you got one cross threaded and you put a wrench on it, you finna run your lug. Now again, when you tighten up, ease on one of them. Don't tighten the crap out of it. Jump across to the one on the other side. Then jump back to one on this side. Then jump across. At this point, you go back around them and tighten them. Let your jack down. Throw your crap in your trunk and get off the side of that road. The reason I said throw your crap in the trunk, because we all know when you out there and it's hot and you're on the side of the road, you ain't gonna take the time to put your tools back in their proper places. We can do that when we get home, can't we, guys? But anyway, that right there is well worth the price. I'll put it in my description below to one of my affiliated links. But this here's a Cobalt, come from Lowe's. Got a 4.0 hour battery. Every so often I get it out, charge my battery up, because I don't want to be on the road and pull over and my battery's done went dead on me. So I keep my battery charged. But guys, that right there, you just seen how quick and easy that made that compared to me sitting there turning in half turns trying to get my jack up, then breaking them lug nuts. Get you an impact wrench, at least have one at your house and put in your vehicle that you drive major. If your wife's gonna go off out of town where you can't get to her, let her take the impact wrench with her. But guys, we finna go over here and I'm gonna show y'all on a pickup truck. Some of you may not know where your spares mounted and how you gotta go about getting it down. I ain't gonna do the change the tire on it, I'm just gonna show you a little bit about it. Now right here is my 2006 Nissan Frontier pickup, and it gives a good example of where the jack could be on pickups, SUVs and stuff. Now like I said, back in the day, almost all your jacks on a pickup was under the hood when they started doing that. They had them on the bolted down on the fender well. Well, nowadays they ain't got enough room under the hood to put a candy bar under there for you to eat, much less put a jack lug wrench. But now on this little truck, guys, it's on the passenger side behind the seat. Now you can see I got my grandson's car seat in here, so if I'm on the road and I have a flat, I'd have to get the car seat out, raise the back seat up, and the jack is bolted down behind the seat. Now I ain't never had this jack out of this truck, and the reason being is because I keep my impact wrench and I keep just what I call a little miniature floor jack or a hydraulic bottle jack in the toolbox. And the times I've had to use it, I didn't even fool. I had my flat changed by the time I could get the jack out behind the seat and all out of this one. But where's the spare on trucks and SUVs, you might ask? Well, your spare's gonna be up under the bottom. You know, most pickups nowadays and SUVs I see, that's where they are. So I'm gonna get down here and I'm gonna show you where it's hanging under there. And I'm gonna show you where you got to, what you gotta do to get them down. So guys, there's your spare hanging upside down right there. And it's got a little chain cable here that winches it up. So you got to get your tire tool, and you got to have the one that comes with that vehicle in order to get your spare down. So when it comes time to get your spare down, guys, it's got a hole right here on this truck. Right above your license plate here is the hole where you stick your tool that sticks up in there to let it down with. And you're gonna have to use the wrench that comes with this vehicle. So if I ever had to get that spare out from under there, which one time I did, I had to get my wrench out behind the truck, which I know I said a while ago I ain't never removed them, but I forgot that one time I actually had to use my spare because I didn't have nothing, no plugs to plug my own tire with. And I got a video on that too, how to plug your own tires to where you ain't got to take them off. But guys, here's the long tool that it folds up. You stick it up in that hole, and you have to kind of go by feel until you feel it gets in the spot it's supposed to be. Then you just crank your tire down. Now you can see the tire is just cranked down, sitting on the ground. You'd have to slide it to you. And you're gonna have to lay down, pick up on your tire, and poke this deal right here through that hole. And then you can slide your tire out. So you don't really want to be doing that on the side of the road. But you're gonna get dirty and nasty, and if your spare's under there, we ain't got no choice, guys. You just got to do what you got to do sometimes, but that's how you get one out that's up under the bottom of your vehicle. Like I said, most vehicles you're gonna have the tool that comes with it, because most of them they got different ways their tool goes in there. Some of them, like I said, has got a socket on the end of it. Some of them just flat on the end of it. And so keep up with your tools when you tire tools for your vehicle. Make sure they stay in a proper place. 'Cause you get out there on the side of the road and have a flat, you may have your jack and have your lug wrench, but if you ain't got the part that lets you spare down, then you still ain't done no good, because you ain't got a spare you can put back on there. Now guys, this is a bottle screw jack. This ain't the one out behind the seat. I didn't waste my time getting it out, because I got one right here I keep in the toolbox on one of my trailers. But I'm going to show you under here, guys, where you would put your jack on the rear of a pickup or SUV. Then I'm going to crawl under there and show you where to put it on the front of one. But on the front, very important you don't put it in the wrong place. So on the rear of the vehicle, you want to make sure it's under your axle. There's your axle. But when you put it under there, you want to make sure it's on the axle and it ain't on top of one of your bolts and nuts, because it'll damage your bolt and nut in case you ever have to take that off for some reason. But you want it to, when it screws up, it's just like that on your axle. Now we're finna go to the front of the vehicle. Now on the front of the vehicle, this is where it gets a little more critical. Just like that bar right there. You don't want to put nothing on that bar, it'll bend it. You don't want to put it over here. It can slip up and get on your oil pan. You don't want it on none of your tie rod ends. You want to make sure, like this vehicle's got what they call an A-frame. You want it right over here beside the tire, under the A-frame. And that's where you would jack it up. Now the problem when you have flats on some of these vehicles like this, when the tire's flat, the A-frame's so low you can't get the jack under it. Well, then you have to back up over here, but if you see up under there, that A-frame ain't solid. So you just keep backing up, and if you can get it right here under the A-frame, you make sure you're on a solid piece. If you ain't, you just keep following it back, but just make sure you're on a solid piece of your frame. There's a spot right there. But a lot of times, some of these vehicles, and the jacks they come with, like this bottleneck jack, when it's flat, won't let down low enough. That's one thing I do like about the scissor jacks. Some of your scissor jacks, you still use the same way. You would put it over here, but a scissor jack will let way down, and it scissors up. But guys, I hope this little video helps someone out there. I know it's many of people, And even my wife, I've showed her on her car, but I ain't never actually showed her how to get that tire out from under a pickup truck in all these years. She knows where the toes is and how to do it, but she'd have to, hopefully somebody would come by nice enough to pull over and help her get the tire out from under the vehicle. And gentlemen, that's the best thing you can do when you see older people, younger people, and ladies on the side of the road, or anybody really, but usually your older people and your younger people and a lot of your ladies, they need help. It's a very nice thing to do, to pull over, help them get their tire changed and get back on the road. I've done it many a times. Lady will be out all dressed up. She can't lay down on the, or not going to lay down on the ground and get dirty to try to get the spare out. Usually I'm already on the road because I've been to work dirty and nasty anyway. Pull over, help them get the tire down, change it. Most of them will try to pay you or something. I say, no ma'am, that's just my blessing. That's my blessing to you, and it blesses me to help you. But guys, I hope you like this video. Hope it helps someone out. If you do like these videos, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't hit subscribe, please subscribe. Share my videos. I'm trying to grow this YouTube channel. It'll be greatly appreciated. Thanks for watching. God bless. See y'all next time.